The crash is bigger than I thought. So in March of 2020 was the biggest crash in world history of the stock market, but nobody knows anything about it because everybody's quarantined at home thinking about coronavirus and social distancing and wearing face masks. So people are missing out on one of the biggest catastrophic cash heists in the history of the world. They don't even know what's happening. Now, the good news is, it's the good news and the bad news about money. I'm going to make a fortune. This is the best time if you're ready for it. So I want you guys who are sitting at home, licking your wounds and wondering when you're going to go back to work and so you can get your lattes and cappuccinos and pizzas. Just know you might be missing one of the biggest opportunities in the history of the world because our governments have really screwed up. And I won't talk about conspiracy, but something's fishy about this corona crisis. There's something very fishy. Why did they have to shut down the whole damn world? And I think it's because they're covering up something very, very big. And in September 2019, the shadow banking system collapsed. And that's why the Fed and the Treasury are printing tens of trillions of dollars all over the world. So when Corona appeared, I think it was an excuse to shut down the world economy to cover up what really happened. Now, again, this is the Rich Dad Radio Show. It's the good news and bad news about money. I'm getting sexually stimulated thinking about how much money I'm going to make. But if you're feeling bad, this is your program. If you're worried about what's going to happen to moi, this is your program. So we're here to save your soul and your checkbook. And our guest today is an old friend of ours, Jeff Wang. He's the expert on crypto, and I love crypto. I don't have any. I have a little bit, but the reason I like crypto is for one reason. It's outside the system. It doesn't depend on the Fed, Federal Reserve Bank, or the Treasury, or Wall Street. Now, you like Wall Street. You believe in investing for the long term in the stock market for your retirement. I'll take laps around the rosary beads tonight. You're screwed. I mean, you're really screwed up if you think you're going to retire on that. I don't care how young you are. So anyway, we have Jeff Wang, and he's going to talk about crypto. As the governments right now all over the world are printing literally trillions of dollars, and they're trying to pay off debt that's denominated in dollars. So that means the U.S. dollar gets stronger because they need dollars to pay off the debt. And when you heard that they were printing trillions of dollars, as a Bitcoin person, what goes through your mind? Is that good or bad for you?
If you are heavy in Bitcoin, it is good for you because Bitcoin has been inversely correlated with the dollar in terms of the dollar compared to the other basket of currencies. So if the dollar crashes or goes bad, Bitcoin is going to go up historically. That's just how it's happened. Bitcoin has also been tied to other assets, but only in various times. To get just a brief summary, Bitcoin was pretty much tied to the S&P 500 for a little bit. And then as the oil crashed in March, I believe, everything got liquidated. So Bitcoin is considered a risky asset because it is volatile. And then it was not shielded away from all the capital being taken out of the markets. So I just want to make sure that people realize it's not really correlated with any asset. I'd say it's like a hedge or actually insurance to any other assets that you're holding.
Yes, and that's exactly the term I use. You see my last tweet. I talk about, I don't consider Bitcoin, gold, or silver investments. I consider them insurance policies against the idiots running the Fed, the Treasury, and Wall Street. And they're a bunch of criminals as far as I'm concerned, because they're printing trillions of dollars at the same time causing billions of people to go unemployed. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? I mean, this is like heaven. But I know for people sitting at home, they're going, oh, I've lost my job. I can't pay my mortgage. And I understand, you can't pay the car payments and all this. But the name of this program is the Rich Dad Radio Show, the good news and bad news about money. So if you're sitting at home contemplating your navel saying, well, can I get my cocktailing job back? Or, what restaurant am I going to work for next? I think you missed the biggest opportunity in world history. That's my point of view. So as a crypto guy, what would you say to somebody who thinks this is a bad time? Why is it a good time for you guys?
Well, we actually analyze every crypto, well, not every cryptocurrency, the major cryptocurrencies on a milestone basis. So in different month periods, we actually predict kind of what prices each coin is going to go. And over the long run, it gets harder and harder to analyze, obviously. Even with the coronavirus fears and we don't know when people are coming back, it's getting harder to project almost any asset. But if you do have a thesis that the dollar is going to decrease in value compared to other currencies, if you go by that thesis, Bitcoin will eventually, should go up in the long term. Cryptocurrencies as a whole, we can get into that. It's a whole ecosystem out there. Also, it starts benefiting from the decentralization of governments and their policies as well.
Okay, and so today's April 20th, 2020. What's the price of Bitcoin today?
It's about 6,800, I believe.
6,800. Do you consider it high or low?
I consider it at the right price. I'll tell you what our newsletter said. We predicted Bitcoin to be $10,000 by May because of it's a thing called the halvening that's happening in May. Yeah, the halvening. It's a joke because halvening is not really the word. But the inflation for Bitcoin is going to get cut in half. So based off our newsletter, we have milestone-based price points. We thought $10,000 by May. So it actually hit $10,000 in February. So we were like, okay, well, here we are. We've reached our point. What happens next? After oil crashed in March, it crashed again today to negatives. But when it crashed in March, all the capital came out of Bitcoin. That was a great opportunity again to put your money in. I predict though that after the halvening, there will be less mining incentive. So if the inflation is cut, there's less infrastructure to support the system because it's just not going to be break even.
Okay,
so I do
Jeff,
think, I just want to say Bitcoin is going to go down. I think in May is my prediction.
It's going to go down. Well, that's good news.
Yeah. So in May there will be a correction that is a good place to get in. Is my just my opinion.
I just don't understand your world. What's to prevent, so that's why I'm asking you, what about Libra? What about the Fed coin? You said that they're not coming out with one. But how do we maintain value if everybody's going to just make their own coins or whatever they do?
Let's look at each of them individually. Facebook obviously is a central entity. It's a company that is creating a not-for-profit organization that's rallied around an organization of different people. So like we have venture capitalists, we have utility companies, we have payment companies, we have like Uber is involved, for example, and nobody actually owns this association. Everyone just has a vote, and they had created a currency that they originally were going to back it as one currency. Now it's going to be multiple currencies tied to each currency in the country. So USD coin, you'll have a pound coin, a euro coin. That's one model, right? The other model is the China model, where they say, this is going to be China's currency. And we are going to distribute it through all our tech companies. They already have Tencent involved, they have Alibaba, and all their biggest banks, they're all involved in distributing this currency. And the question is like, how is this going to change the world? How is this going to affect other cryptocurrencies, right? And how it will affect them is a little more unclear, other than the fact that it does provide another means to get to outside of the system. Because what we're talking about right now is still a centralized system, either from the top down, which is China going down to the people, or Facebook and up, right? Going from the people to the governments. Now, Facebook is running into huge resistance from other governments from going across borders. China just does what China wants. They say we want a currency, we're going to make it. So I know you wanted to say something.
When you mention Facebook, are you talking about Libra or just Facebook having its own?
So Facebook
lost me a long time ago.
Yeah, Facebook will get in trouble if they say that it is their currency. So what they've done is they funded another entity in Geneva that is going to be the owner of this new currency. So they have tried to detach themselves away from it as much as possible. So
what's the advantage to Facebook for having Libra? The reason I mentioned that is because more people know about Facebook and this thing called Libra than the other stuff you mentioned. So why would Facebook want to start Libra?
So the primary reason is to expand into other countries that don't have very good banking systems. So if all I need again is a key to generate a wallet, to accept payments, I can now build a business in any country, as long as there's money coming in, as long as money can be transferred within that country. That's Facebook's primary reason to begin with.
So it's going to bypass the banking system and the business system of, let's say, Spain. Is that what it's doing?
Or in unbanked areas like in Africa, where it's harder to get a bank account. It's harder to get money into Africa or convert it into a US dollar equivalent. So the moment you have that money within the country, you actually have a payment system already set up all around Facebook's ecosystem. They have their own wallet called Calibra. And basically you can run a business entirely on Facebook's infrastructure. Now, when you have China is having another approach.
Wait. So stay on Facebook. So Facebook will start its own ecosystem internally with Libra.
Correct.
And so why would a country, let's say Kenya, not like it? Or why would they like it?
There will be less dependence on whatever local currency there's going to be, right? Like if Kenya has a currency that's tied to some value, all of a sudden there's this other payments system that's coming in and people might just accept Libra with that business. You could run your Facebook marketplace page, you can accept payments with Libra, and then you could interact with anybody around the world as long as you're using Libra, right?